Hey Who fans, and welcome to the Big Blue Box podcast. My name's Gary.
My name's Adam.
And we're at episode 121.
Woohoo!
One day, I shall come back.
Oh dear, we are in trouble, aren't we?
I've reversed the polarity of the neutron flow, so the TARDIS should be free of the force field now.
I have the advantage of being slightly ahead of you. Sometimes behind you, but normally ahead of you.
The trouble with time travel is, one never seems to find the time.
Change, my dear. And it seems not a moment too soon.
Unlimited rice pudding, etc., etc.
A meteor storm and the sky above us was dancing with lights. Purple, green, brilliant yellow, yes!
I'm the doctor, by the way. What's your name?
Rose.
Nice to meet you, Rose. Run for your life.
It's more like a big ball of wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey stuff.
Just remember who's standing in your way.
Look at the eyebrows. These are attack eyebrows. You can take bottle tops off with these.
Howdy, howdy, howdy do Who fans, and welcome to episode 121. I was going to, for some reason in my head then, I was going to kick into coming to you from somewhere in the middle of nowhere, but that's yours, isn't it?
Yeah, that's my tagline, but yours is really similar. We haven't used that for years. Now, what is it? Coming for you from somewhere in time and space, I think? Or...
I think so, from some, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are coming to you from somewhere.
Because you don't use that anymore either, do you? And I always forget to use that tagline. Like when I first started doing videos, I was like, hello, coming to you from somewhere in the middle of nowhere. And I just kind of forgot at some point. And yeah, until you remind me, I never use it.
Yeah, we'd be useless as game show hosts because, typical, the big famous game shows, especially from back in the day, where they had like the solid catchphrase. People like Bruce Forsyth and all those sorts of people, they had a solid catchphrase that they said every show without fail.
Yeah. Good game, I love, good game.
Yeah, all those people from back in the day. And if we didn't hear it, we'd think something was very, very wrong.
Yeah, you say, he's not on the ball this week, yeah.
Yeah, but for us, it's just a case, it's a combination of forgetfulness and laziness, I think.
We are very forgetful, especially when it comes to names, taglines.
Yep.
Just in general, yeah. But one thing you haven't forgotten is to wear your Christmas jumper today.
Yeah,
Gary's rocking a very nice Doctor Who themed blue Christmas jumper, listeners. It's really cool, actually. It's got he's just been doing something a bit. I can't describe it. He's just been doing something that's a bit rude, but yeah, it's very nice. It's got Daleks on it, a Cybermen. And what's the other thing? Is it a TARDIS in the middle?
TARDIS in the middle, yeah.
TARDIS in the middle.
Yeah.
Looks very nice. Yeah, I feel very underdressed, actually. Oh, you got some Weeping Angels as well. God, they've crammed a lot on there, haven't they?
Yeah, they're on the sleeves as well, the whole lot, mate. I did stick a picture on the socials just before we started recording, so anyone wants some Doctor Who Christmas fashion tips, go check it out.
Does it go? Does it go all the way round? Like, is the whole jumper like that? Because I've got the red one that they did, which, to be frank, isn't quite as nice. But it's only printed on the front.
Same
it's a bit disappointing. Mate. Oh, is it? Is yours just completely blue on the back?
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Because I remember sort of taking out the patch and going, "Oh, that's good," and then sort of turning it around and it's just blank. You're like, "Oh,
yeah."
Nothing on.
You kind of I had the same reaction when I opened it, and I thought, trying to save a few pennies there.
Yeah.
We're going to not print on the back because we've run out of time and money to just do the front and the sleeves.
That's it.
The old BBC for you.
This is, I assume you got yours from the good old BBC shop before it closed. Which would have been last year. Did you not? Oh, no, I know where you got yours. I was with you, wasn't I?
The festival.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course, you got it at the festival. I remember now. Yeah. Wow. Good days.
Good times.
Yeah.
Yes. Indeed. Yeah. Thank you. I was going to say thank you for remembering that. I wouldn't have if I'm really struggling hard to think of what you bought at the festival. So you remember what I bought? What did you buy? You must have. I think.
No, I was what's the word? I was strangely reserved, wasn't I? Do you remember?
That's right. Yes.
I can't remember why, because there was loads of stuff ordered. You bought the Siege Mode TARDIS, I remember. I think you just sort of bought all the stuff I wanted, and I just didn't buy anything, which is most unlike me.
Something like that. I remember you were looking at a Peter Capaldi plush toy thing. which looked pretty dreadful, but you were...
I never got him. No, yeah, I wanted him because he looked so bad. I wanted to take him home. Yeah, the Peter Capaldi plush. I never did get him. I remember liking the Sonic Screwdriver barbecue tongs that looked particularly bad. Again, I wanted to bring them home. Didn't get them. I think I did buy something. I think I had to get something, but I can't remember what it was. I do remember loving the Robert Harrop stand there. He had all the Doctor Who figurines in, and I remember wanting the whole lot.
Yeah.
But didn't get any. But yeah, no, I can't remember what I bought. I don't think it was anything too exciting. It certainly wasn't anything as exciting as a Siege Mode TARDIS, which I know you've got pride of place on your shelf. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought you bought something cool that day. I don't know why I think that. Maybe. Oh, it was Ben Lett. Do you remember the Host Productions?
Yeah, Ben. Yeah.
He raced into the festival immediately, right up and bought one of those. Is it Big Chief, Dr. Capaldi?
That's it.
Dr. Capaldi. What am I talking about? Mr. Capaldi. I think it was like 250 squids worth of limited edition statue, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the Capaldi figure with the sort of red or browny velvet coat.
That's right. Yeah.
That's exclusive to the Doctor Who Festival. Yeah, he bought that, which again was a really nice piece. I know why you remember that, because I think you ended up carrying it around the festival for him for half the day, and I can't remember why that was.
Yeah, I think he buggered off to do 3 or 4 photo shoots and didn't want to have to carry it around. So
that's it, yeah.
Like a mug, I was like, yeah, I'll carry that around for you, mate. Like 3 hours later.
We'll take that. Yeah, we'll steal him. Take him home.
Oh, good times, man, from the festival.
So that would have been, it's not this year, is it? So it's last year that.
Yes.
Because we haven't had anything this year. Golly, that's scary, isn't it?
It was over a year ago. It was November, I think, last year.
Yeah, that's right. I'd like to do one again. I mean, I know we moaned about the fact we didn't get much for our dollar, but it'd be nice to do a festival again, because it was great just to sort of be in that massive hall and meet up with other fans and stuff, and and geek out for the day. It was a good day. Yeah, I did really enjoy it.
It's an awesome day, just hanging out with everybody.
Yeah.
Yes. So we hope you guys have had a good week, and that you've managed to do something with the Doctor. Maybe you read a book or watched a bit of Who. What have you been up to? Anything decent, mate? I've had a very quiet one again. It seems to be par for the course this time of year for me. But have you done much?
No, I'm the same, actually. Unfortunately, just work has been so busy, because it is that time of year, isn't it? That I really haven't had a chance to do much at all. And I've been quite tired when I come in, so I've really not had much energy to do a lot at all. I did get the tree up. I know you saw. It took me about 3 hours. I've got this tree. It's a fake one, obviously, and you have to put it together. It's all in bits, and it's all the branches have got different colours on them, so you have to match the colours. And I'm colourblind, so that automatically adds on an hour in construction time for me.
Right.
So I did finally get it together, and as is now tradition, it would seem, our good friend Adam the Ultimate Whovian did this, and I think he might have got the idea from Gallifrey 97 Reese, I'm not sure, of putting the Drashig at the top of the tree. So naturally I did that, but you'll be pleased to know that he didn't stay up there long, because my other half was like, yeah, you've got your picture of him now, get it off. So he was up there long enough for a photo, but he didn't. The poor old Drashig, who I'm naming Sid, did not stay up on top of the tree for long. He's been replaced by a traditional angel, so the tree is up. Yeah, I know our good friend Becky, Sammy Satine, our good friend Sammy Satine, she's got a weeping angel at the top of her tree. She sent me a picture of, which is rather cool. I've never seen that, actually. So that's I don't know if that's just because she lives in Australia, so maybe that's an Australian bit of merch. But yeah, it's a cool thing to have at the top of a tree. A bit scary for Christmas, but a very nice little...
Yeah, it does look awesome. I could never have that, because my wife is terrified of weeping angels, so she would... that wouldn't go past the quality control section of putting a tree. No, it does look good though. I think I every year I always intend to pick up a few Doctor Who themed just decorations to hang on the tree. I do see them quite frequently each year. They pop up. You can get a TARDIS and a Dalek and so on, but I never seem to find them at a decent price. I mean, I like them. They look good, but I think they're like £10 each.
They are expensive. They
so-
are. Yeah, I've looked at them before and I thought, oh, bit pricey. Because I'd like to get some Doctor Who, like something subtle, something that my partner probably wouldn't notice if I put it on there. You know, like the Drastic, I can't get away with it. But like I said, like a nice little TARDIS bauble or something like that would be cool. I do normally have a Tennant TARDIS at the bottom of the tree. You know, the one that sort of lights up and the one that comes is supposed to be for the figures, but like this SFX flight TARDIS. Where my mum got me one from a charity shop. It's the 10th Doctor one, and I normally have that at the bottom of the tree just because when you switch it on, it all lights up and it looks really cool with the Christmas tree.
Okay.
But he's not there yet. He hasn't materialised, so I'll have to dig that out because I like you. I like to have something Doctor Who by the tree. I don't know why, but I'd like to have something there. I've always wanted to get the Titan. Did a very limited. It's the TARDIS with the Christmas wreath on the door.
Oh yeah.
Yep. They're so hard to get. I've never seen one. I've only ever seen them on like eBay for really really high prices. But I haven't even seen them on eBay for a long time. But God, I'd love to get my hands on one of them. That would be awesome. That would be lovely. Yes.
You have to keep an eye out on eBay for those.
Yeah, I do. Every now and again, when it pops in my head, I sort of check, like I did the other day, because it's Christmas and all that. I was thinking, wonder if anyone's selling off their Titan TARDIS. But no, I can't seem to find one. If any of our listeners have got one that they want to throw our way, let us know, because I'd love to get hold of that.
It'd be good.
Yeah. So apart from that, mate, not a lot. Trees up. I bought a ticket for Stephen Moffat's doing a little interview with Frank Skinner at the BFI later next year. I think it's April time. And I thought that'd kind of be fun. I thought, the Moff and Skinner together. So I bought a ticket for that, just so I've got something lined up for next year. But that's been it, really. I haven't really had a chance to do much else. I haven't watched anything apart from the review app, which I watched last night. Obviously no class anymore, so I didn't have to sort of worry about that. So, I haven't really been up to much else.
Yeah, I'm the same, mate. I've had a real quiet one. I've only watched... Obviously, I watched our review ep, Smith and Jones. I stuck that on last night. Earlier on in the week, I did unwrap a very small box set that I hadn't opened before. Don't know why. It's the Ace box set. So, stuck the Happiness Patrol on.
Oh, wow. We were talking about that on the last podcast, weren't we? About the sets. Yeah, so it's been interesting when we get to review that,
Yes, and also had a read through the book that I picked up a few weeks back now, the Who Graphica, which is essentially just a book packed full of infographic type information and stats and figures and everything. It's really good, actually. It's really well designed book and loads of interesting stuff as well.
It's a mind melt, isn't it, that book? It's a really great book, but it's just like, it's a bizarre book. It's a good book, though.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah. That's about it, mate.
Yeah. What's the other DVD that's in that set, by the way, the A set? It's Happiness Patrol, and is it Dragonfire?
No, it's Ghostlight, I think.
Is it? Mm-hmm. I thought it was Dragonfire. In the Ace box set.
Yeah. Oh, hold on. Yes, you could be right. No, it's not Dragonfire.
No, what is it? Because I've got that set, but I haven't busted that one out for a while. I haven't watched Happiness Patrol in a long time. Actually, we'll have to do that in the new year, won't we? Get that on the schedule.
Yeah.
In fact, we haven't done Dragonfire either.
No, it's Dragon. You are correct, as usual.
I was thinking, because we've done most of we've reviewed most of McCoy's era, and I was thinking those are the two that spring to mind that we haven't yet done. So we'll have to do them in the new year. I don't know about you, but I'll be quite sad when we've finished McCoy's era.
Yeah,
I might almost be tempted to go back and just do them again, because I love watching the McCoy stuff. I really do.
I do now. Yeah.
Yeah, you do now. Yeah. And one day we are going to reevaluate Remembrance of the Daleks, aren't we? We're going to do a revisit of that because.
Yeah, we should. Yeah.
Yeah, because that was that the first McCoy you watched, or one of the first McCoy you watched? I can't remember now.
The second one, I believe. I watched. Yeah.
It's early days, wasn't it? So you weren't over fond of McCoy at that point, but
no,
times have changed. So yeah,
very much so. Yeah, I was very. I really just didn't like the McCoy era at all. I hated the intro, the theme tune. I just didn't think much of McCoy as the Doctor at all. I thought a lot of the episodes were very bad. But it's just amazing how your opinion changes as you just sort of force yourself to to watch more and more and speak to people. And as doing the podcast has helped as well, because as we talk through the episodes, it just gives you for me anyway, it gives me a much larger appreciation of all the stuff that goes into it. But now I absolutely love the McCoy. I mean, especially the theme tune as well. It's one of my favourite versions of the theme. Yeah, I love it. Absolutely love it. Yeah. So it's amazing how it changes. But we should probably finish up. So when we come to the end of reviewing the McCoy era, we should finish up with the Remembrance revisit probably.
Yeah, definitely. That'd be a good plan.
Yes. Let's crack on with the show though.
Yep.
We have got to land this thing and do some news, I suppose.
Okay.
First up is a story concerning Mr. Capaldi, and we try not to delve too much into rumours and hearsay and Chinese whispers, but Capaldi has actually spoken in an interview with Wales Online, and obviously, being the Doctor, he always gets asked. Every Doctor gets asked this question.
Well, they've even started filming, I think. Yeah.
And that is, are you staying on? Are you leaving? XYZ. And he went on to say he has been asked to stay on, but he hasn't made up his mind yet, mainly because he says, I don't want to have to make that decision. I'm trying to avoid it. So that's interesting. He hasn't said, no, I'm out. And he hasn't said, I'm up for doing more. He's just, it feels like he's toing and throwing, going between the two. And it's always the same. He's probably been asked that question like 1,000 times.
How long you staying? Yeah. When are you leaving? Yeah.
Yeah. And then he goes on to say, when they said about Chibnall taking over for 2018, and he's still not decided on whether to stay for that transition period from the Moff through to Chibbers. He does say that Doctor Who takes up a lot of time, but it's a wonderful use of time. He says he's very lucky. The decide to leave is tough for everyone, and he said it was very tough for Stephen. So he's putting it off for as long as possible. So I think he's caught up in this. Well, it sounds like anyway. He's caught up in this situation where he's very fortunate that if he wanted to stay on, he could, because they've asked him to. I assume Chris Chibnall has asked him to stay on. And he's sort of umming and ahhing, thinking, is it the right thing for me? Is it the right thing for this incarnation of the Doctor? Should this Doctor stay on? And should we have a Tennant Matt Smith situation where it's just a complete clean break and everything's different? Or I don't know. But what do you reckon, mate? I think this might keep him up at night for a while, thinking about this one.
Yeah, I think so. I think because he clearly loves playing the Doctor, doesn't he? I think it is his dream role. He's a big fan, and I think he is clearly really enjoying being in it. It still feels like he's quite new. I know he's done like 2 series, and we've had this year gap on that. He still feels like he's only just become the Doctor to me, even though we'll be going into his 3rd year. So, I'm glad he's been asked anyway. I'd hate to think that they'd sort of said to him, no, new producer, it's all starting afresh, all of that. So I'm glad that he has actually been asked to stay on. I'm really in two minds. I'd love to see him stay, and I'd also love to see like a new sort of a fresh start and a whole new feel to the show, a bit like when Moffat took over and all that. So I'm really in two minds, but I'm gonna go in the middle and stick with an idea that you said, that I'd love to see him do half a series, and then maybe get another Doctor would be great. But I'm happy either way. If he stays, brilliant. If they start afresh, I'm happy with that as well. So I'm happy either way, really. But our good friend Martin from the Bad Wolf podcast, he did a little video, because he's got a YouTube channel as well, with a theory. He's convinced that Peter Capaldi has already decided to leave, and he sort of backed it up with why he thinks that. I called him Sherlock Wilf, because he was sort of saying, well, if you look at Peter Capaldi is already sort of signed up to do this and that, and he sort of analysed it, and he was saying, so that means by the time they start filming the new series, he won't be able to do it, and blah, blah, blah. And I was thinking, okay, Martin, you may have just convinced me that he's decided to leave, but we don't know. Nothing is certain. But
especially
it was an interesting theory, Martin. Yeah. But yeah, I'm happy either way. I'd like him to stay. If he wants to go, I'm happy to see a new Doctor come in. So yeah. What about you? I know you want. I think you want him to stay, don't you?
I would like to see him stay.
Yeah.
I would like to see him stay on for at least, like you say, half or a third of, or 2/3, sorry, of the new series after Moffat. So what would that be? Series 11?
11, yeah. Yep. So it's 11, yeah.
And then, so just completely turn it on its head. So instead of having the usual run-of-the-mill, let's have a cliffhanger at the end with the Doctor regenerating into a new person, and then we have to wait however many months for the new series to start. I reckon let's just change it up. Let's do a regeneration mid-series or towards the end, and have a couple of episodes with a new guy or lady, and see how it goes.
I'll tell you what, I was just thinking though, I bet it would be great to be in a room listening to Capaldi and Chibnall, plot out ideas where they'd like to go with his Doctor, because Capaldi a big fan, obviously Chris Chibnall massive fan of the show as well. Stephen Moffat obviously is a fan of the show, but he's a different sort of fan, isn't he? He's not as geeky as perhaps Capaldi and Chibbers are, in the sense that, when Capaldi goes on about Mondas Cybermen, Capaldi gets why it should be Mondas Cybermen, whereas Moffat just thinks Cybermen are Cybermen. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't. So there's that difference there. Whereas I think Chibbers would totally get it. Like if Capaldi went to him and said, we should have Mondas Cybermen in the next series, Chibbers would probably be like, yeah, that would be awesome. Whereas, the Moff just, I don't know. There's a different way of thinking, obviously, different producers, different train of thought. But I just think the two of them would spark quite well, I think. So I am kind of curious to see that happen. Yeah. But we'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah, should he stay or should he go? Right, in other news, last week on the podcast, we were saying, oi, BBC, when are you going to drop that Mysterio trailer? Because we've had like a behind-the-scenes trailer, we've had an exclusive clip, we've had some promo shots, we've had all sorts, but we haven't had a proper, what we would call like a next time trailer, I suppose. Like a proper full-length trailer. So we finally got it, didn't we? Landed a couple of days ago. Didn't really give us anything new, which is probably a good thing. We don't want any spoilers, but didn't really give us anything new.
It's very minimal. It's like 20 seconds long or something like that, isn't it? And it doesn't. It is. Yeah, like you say, it doesn't give us anything additional. I mean, there's like the odd little thing. I mean, there's a nice little scene with the Doctor and Nardole where Nardole's like, yeah, or something, and he's like, don't do that.
Yeah, I like that scene.
So it's like that's cool, the humour side. But other than that, it was stuff we'd seen really just cut together a bit quicker.
Yes, it's a good way of putting it. Yeah, it's slightly warmed my anticipation, but I am feeling a bit more up for it now. I wasn't at all when some of the stuff was first announced, I've got to be honest. But I don't know, I'm starting to feel a little bit more, or a little bit less, I should say, bar humbug at the minute. Yeah. Don't know how long that'll last. But no, at the minute, I'm like, yeah, looks fun. Looks like it could be fun. Looks ridiculous, but I'm just going to try not to be too grumpy, which is not easy for me. I'm just going to try not to be too grumpy and just hope that I watch it and enjoy it. It doesn't have to be amazing. It doesn't have to go down as a classic. As long as I sit there and enjoy it, I think I'll be happy. Yeah. So, because we'll see. But
me too. Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go.
There we are. So yeah, finally got the trailer. Yeah, just YouTube it. Yeah. The return of Dr. Mysterio, and it'll be there. Yeah, and all the comments that people leave on these things seem to be the same every time they post anything to do with this special. And although I initially agreed with a lot of it, I am now a bit sick of people just moaning, if you know what I mean. Because it is literally the same thing. Every time they post anything about this Christmas special, it's just like, yeah, it looks terrible, it's awful, haven't watched Doctor Who since David Tennant left, blah, blah, blah. It's just the same old comments. And so, although I was a bit grumpy about it to start with, that's why I'm thinking, nope, I'm just going to wait and see, and hopefully it'll be good. Hopefully. Yeah. Last up in the news, if you're into your fan-made stuff, the guys over at Whotopia
Those guys produce a fan magazine, and they're up to issue 30 at the moment. And this magazine is a free download. They don't charge for it. You just need to head over to whotopia.ca. And their latest issue, they've managed to bag an interview with Peter Davison.
Ah.
And I've downloaded it. I haven't started reading it yet, though. So I can't comment on how long it is or the content or anything. But these, I downloaded the last couple, actually. And the last one was all about sort of restarting new Doctors and regenerations and reboots and all that stuff. And the one before that was a special all about the character of the Master, and that had some good stuff in it. And they do cram a lot of stuff in it. There's loads of articles, and it's pretty good that these guys put it all together, and it's designed reasonably well, and they just chuck it out for free. So it's good if you've got sort of half an hour to spare, and you're in between like the official Doctor Who magazine or something. It's a good one to have a read through. So if you just head over to whotopia.ca, you'll be able to download. And I think they've got a load of back issues. Well, the last few anyway, that you can download.
Is it download only magazine? Is it?
Yeah, it's PDF.
Okay, I've never heard of this before. I'm quite intrigued by this this magazine. Well, it's new to me. This one.
Yeah, we spoke about one of them ages ago. It was last year. Yeah, there was one of them that we said was out. I think it was the Sarah Jane one with Kane, or the spin-off issue, I think. Something like that, yeah. But they're not bad. They're pretty good.
Oh, excellent. So this is issue 30, yeah?
Issue 30.
So they're rocking and rolling. Oh, good stuff. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, always good to have an interview with the governor.
With the governor.
Davison. Yeah.
Davison, yeah. That's going to do for news. Shall we greet our friends at the door?
Get them in. Get those Daleks in.
Merch corner. Merch corner. Merch corner.
I don't know whether to be impressed or disgusted.
It's a bit rubbish, but it's pretty. It's very pretty.
Topps cards. Topps.
Straight in there. Topps cards.
Topps trading cards. I'm still not into the whole trading cards thing, but I know plenty of people who are.
Oh, loads are, yeah.
Yes, and these ones. So Topps have brought out a new set, which is the 10th Doctor Adventures set, and they've labelled these ones as something called Wide Vision. Now I'm assuming they're the standard Topps cards, but they're just larger in format. The picture I'm looking at here, they certainly look a lot larger as well.
Yeah,
and they're still labelled as 2016, so they've left it right to the end of the year to bring these out. But basically, there's 88 cards in the set. It's in a nice box as well. It's got the TARDIS on the top.
Lovely box, yeah.
Yeah, and you inside this, so as well as the included in the 88 cards, 2 of them have been signed. So not personally, but they have got the autograph of David Tennant and Billie Piper on these cards. So they haven't signed, thousands and thousands of cards. They've just got the signatures from them and, printed them on there with the rest of the stuff. And as far as I'm aware, from reading this, the Topps cards come in various types, and I'm assuming they're based on rarity. So in this pack, you get a 1 gold card, you get 10 silver, 25 bronze, and 50 in the blue format. So I'm assuming that's how rare they are. So you only get 1 gold and so on. But they do look good. I must admit, I really like the design on these ones. They've got, the pictures that they've used of David Tennant and Billie Piper. They haven't gone and redone anything there. Like the pictures that you would recognise from various marketing materials or DVD covers, whatever. But they do look good. I do like them. They do like it's a nice set, and they are. There's a bunch of other signed cards in with these as well. So the set that you buy might not be David Tennant and Billie Piper. It could be anything. So they've got obviously David Tennant, Billie Piper, Alex Kingston, Freema Agyeman, Noel Clarke, and John Barrowman. So they've all signed for these sets, and they're limited to 1,500. So if you want to grab them, I think it's quite difficult to get them in the UK because it's an American thing. But they're $60 each, which I think is around about 35 quid.
Okay.
Ish. So if you can find them in the UK, there might be a nice little set, just something to own. But yeah, our US customers should be able to get them fairly easy. So yeah, the Topps Wide Vision cards, the 10th Doctor Adventure set, looks pretty good.
They do look nice. That's definitely the sort of thing I would pick up just because it looks great. But yeah, I don't think they're that easy to get over here. I've always wanted David Tennant's autograph because there's a picture of it on the site we're looking at now. I just love his autograph. He does look this zany sort of tee, I suppose it would be for his Tennant. I don't know, but yeah, I've always wanted to get his autograph. So that is a nice set if you can get it. In other merch news, here's something we spoke about. Quite a while ago, isn't it? It seems to have been on the merchandise site for a while. Well, it's finally out, and it is the all wood TARDIS desk tidy. TARDIS desk tidy. So basically, it's a TARDIS that you can shovel your pens and stuff in and put on your desk. And we liked the look of this when it first got announced, didn't we? I remember us both saying, "Ooh, might pick that up." It's retails for $19.99. That's right. You can get it directly from the monsterfactory.com, or Amazon are also selling it. I'm not sure if the price is the same. I think it is at the minute, but Amazon things that change. So just keep checking if you think that's too much or whatever. But it does look good. I have to say the picture on the promotional site looks pretty cool. When you go to the picture on the Amazon site, it looks fine until you zoom in on it. I don't know if you can do it, Gary, but if you just hover over it and just look at the TARDIS sign, the police box sign and that, can you see how bad that looks? Yeah. I have to be honest, I wouldn't have used that as a particular promotion shot, and the lid looks like it's falling apart as well on the top. So I don't know. I haven't seen one in the flesh, but yeah, the one on the Amazon site doesn't make it look that great, but the one on the promotional shot looks pretty good. So yeah, I don't know, maybe it's one of those where perhaps that's the Friday, what they call the Friday batch, that's on the Amazon site, because it just looks like it's been nailed together by somebody who was perhaps looking at his phone at half the time. But it does the actual product does look pretty good on the website. So yeah,
I thought that when. Because on the Monster Factory site, they do look quite nice, but then on the Amazon one, it does look like
it's only when you zoom in on it. As I said, if you look at the picture, you think, it's nice, little desk tidy by the computer. Just hover your mouse over it, and it zooms in, and just look at the actual detail, and you think,
the sticker that they've used,
it's all wonky and.
Police
it's been
box,
cut off. Yeah,
it doesn't look great. Looks like
and the lid looks terrible. Look at the light as well. But as I said, we don't know. That could have been a what do they call it? It might not be the finished article. Maybe it's just a promo shot. We don't know. I haven't seen the actual thing, but you were going to get one of these when they were first announced. And I think I was thinking, I might get that. I will get one when it comes down in price. I'm not quite prepared to pay £20. I'm sure they will. I think I would probably pay, my price for this would be about $12.99. I think I'd go, But what about you? What sort of price do you reckon this should be?
Yeah, exactly the same. I mean, I think what drew us to it initially and what still does now is because it doesn't look like a plasticky sort of flimsy thing. It is made out of proper wood, and it has opening doors, and the top sort of flips up and that sort of thing. So it does look good, but some of the photos do make it look a bit iffy. So I think, same as you, when it drops down in price a bit, we'll probably pick one up. But
until then, our pens will just be sprawled.
Yeah, it does look like Strax has built them after he's had a few beers.
It does.
With his big chunky hands. Yeah. But if this is your thing though, just we'll put it in the show notes on the website when this goes out. Or just, to do a search on Amazon or go to themonsterfactory.com. That's going to do for merch.
That's it for merch, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes. Shall we load up the clip for our review episode this week? And it's going to be...
Moto Full Show, go! Smith and Jones, of course. Off we go.
The rain is going up. Who are you then?
I'm the doctor.
Me too, if I can pass my exams. Oh, on the bloody moon.
Jadoon.
Sentence execution.
Welcome aboard, Miss
Jones?
It's my pleasure, Mr. Smith.
What a good trailer.
Lovely TARDIS sound effect at the end there.
2007, this went out. Part of Series 3.
Yeah.
In March, no less. It was written by RTD himself.
Yeah, the man himself.
Yeah, directed by Charles Palmer. And it's the first outing for Martha Jones, isn't it? This is
yes, it is, isn't it? Yes, first. I was thinking maybe we got to see her before this, but no, it's the first outing for her. Yeah.
Yeah. So we had a kind of one-off before, The Runaway Bride. Was that the
That's
one?
it.
Was that out of Christmas or?
That was the Catherine Tate Christmas. That's what was just confusing me, actually. I was trying to think what was before it. Yeah.
Yeah. So Martha's first run around with the Doctor. And so this story is essentially we get introduced to Martha and her family, so we know who she is quite early on. And she's training to be a doctor. She's in a hospital. The hospital is home. Well, it's looking after a couple of aliens, a doctor being one of them. The other one is this kind of gruesome alien who, what's her character name? Is it?
The old granny?
Biddy, yeah.
Miss Finnegan.
Miss Finnegan.
Miss Finnegan or something
Florence
like Miss Finnegan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And her alien, I think, is called a plasmavore.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, plasmavore. So she's in a hospital. She's making the most of all of the ill people by sucking out all the blood from their bodies. Essentially, it's a bit gruesome. And the doctor's there. Yeah. The doctor's there, obviously, faking as an ill patient because he knows what's going on. The Judoon turn up, the famous space rhinos. They turn up. They literally take the entire hospital, plant it on the moon, so they can safely deal with the problem. They do deal with the problem with the help of Martha Jones mainly. The Doctor comes very close to death, and then once that's been sorted out, the hospital's been gets returned. The Doctor goes off, but then he comes back and offers Martha the chance to go on the travels, just like he did with Rose. And then bosh, we're off for the rest of Series 3.
Yeah. It's a nice, simple storyline, actually, isn't it? It's, nothing too complicated. Kind of there to just introduce Martha, I think, which personally I think it does brilliantly. Just like you said, in the first 5 minutes, we get to see all her family. We kind of get to know Martha in that 5 minutes pretty well.
Yeah.
And then we're straight into the story and the Doctor and Martha together. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's quite good. One thing that I quite like about this, and one of our listeners who sent in a comment about it made me think of it as well, that Russell T Davies did a very good job of lining up the characters quite nicely and quickly. So there was no... you knew exactly where you stood with the characters within the story and the series quite early on. Whereas if you think about the first time we see Amy Pond, for example, with the Moffat era, it took a while to figure out, what she was really about. Because when we first see Amy Pond, it's just a girl/woman living in a big house by herself with no parents and so on.
And that's never even explained, is it?
No, with the crack in the wall.
And she's
colossal
got the police
story
woman
arc.
She's got the police outfit on and all that, and it's like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, even when she's a little girl, though, she's in that house by herself, seemingly, which is weird. But Russell T Davies, he did it with Rose. So with Rose, we knew exactly who she was. We knew her mum. We knew her boyfriend.
We knew where she worked.
All within the first sort of 10 minutes. Yep. And a very similar thing happens with this one with Martha. So we know where she works, what she does. We know her mum, her dad's girlfriend, her brother, her sister. We know all of that, and it's laid out lovely. So there's none of this head scratching from the moment that we see Martha. Like, ooh, who's this? Is she going to be a companion? What's she about? We know nothing. It's none of that. It's just presented to us very nicely, and Russell T Davies does that very well.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah,
so that was good. And then the story itself, like you said, it's very, very simple. This one, it's absolutely not timey-wimey, with the exception of the very first interaction that Martha has with the Doctor.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
So he bumps into her in the street, and says something to her. I can't remember.
I can't understand it, actually. I was hoping you knew what it was he said, because I rewound it. I've never understood quite what he's saying.
Yeah, rewound it 3 times and I still can't get it. But essentially, he's basically saying to her, see, it was me. Because she doesn't believe, does she? Because when she first sees him in the street, he says something to her, and then she sees him lying in a hospital bed. So she's very confused. And then at the very end, when he says to her, I can also travel in time, she doesn't believe him. So he jumps into TARDIS, goes to her that morning, says it, comes back, and there it is. So it's a very tiny little timey-wimey bit, but it makes perfect sense. It's not a Moffat timey-wimey.
Makes a point. I'll have to put the subtitles on next time I watch it. I should have thought of that, just to see what he's actually saying.
He says something like C.
Is it something about necktie or something? I don't know.
Something like that, yeah. So it's not timey-wimey, with the exception of that tiny little bit, which is easy to get. It's not difficult to understand that bit. And so, the rest of it, it's just a sort of cat and mouse game, really. So the hospital gets transported off to the moon, which is a great idea. Really well done.
Really bizarre, yeah. I love it.
The Jadoon turn up, which look great. And they're basically after this alien. They eventually find her with the help of the Doctor and Martha, and then they put the hospital back. And that's it. It's a great, simple adventure, really. Yeah,
and it just, like I said, it's just perfect for introducing Martha, because she's obviously a doctor, and it's all set in around the hospital she works in, so it's just a lovely way of bringing her into the show. And I think when I first saw this trailer, I remember you sort of naturally assume before you watch it that the Jadoon are going to be the monster of the week, don't you? Think, oh, they're the bad guys, and of course it turns out they're not. It's actually this old granny who's going around sucking blood through a straw. And man, whoever thought a straw could be so
effective,
so effectively gruesome. It's a lovely, simple story, this one. I have to say, I really enjoyed rewatching this last night. I haven't watched it since transmission, and I've no idea why. I really am shocked that I've never gone back to this one. Why it didn't stick in my head, and I think I always remembered that I quite enjoyed it. It's just not one I've ever gone back and watched. So yeah, I really enjoyed watching this the other night.
It's just a good, enjoyable watch.
Yeah, it's just enjoyable. Yeah, I mean, I can't say it's like a classic. I wouldn't put it up there with some of the best. But I just really enjoyed it, and I thought it did exactly what it probably needed to do when it went out. It introduces Martha, it gave us a bit of adventure, it gives us some great humour, actually.
Yeah.
Some really lovely scenes in it, like with the Doctor with his shoe when he's trying to get some energy out of his foot.
The radiation that he's absorbed.
From
the X-ray machine. Yeah.
Jumping around and all that stuff. I just, completely forgotten it, and it was just great. I was really sort of wrapped up in what's going on. So yeah, I really enjoyed this one, I have to say.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Talk about some characters. Yeah, because we can't really speak too much about the story in this one. It's not like Ghostlight, where there's...
No, I was just thinking it's the opposite, isn't it?
It's literally one extreme to the other. It's just very simple, easy to get. So in terms of characters then, we have... let's talk about Martha's family first, because we get introduced to those guys early on, and they don't have that big parts, really. It's just at the beginning, at the end, essentially. And the I've said it before, her character of her mum's quite annoying, because she always seems like she's got a hump on.
Yeah, she's always got the cob on, hasn't she?
Literally in every scene that we see Martha's mum, she's got a right face on. And that just does my head in, because you think to yourself, come on, you can't literally live your entire life with a great hump on the whole time. But no, a character always seems to be moaning about something. Normally Martha's doing something or not doing something, and in this instance it's to do with the ex. The ex wants to bring his new girlfriend, and Martha's caught in the middle, and you think, oh Christ.
I think actually that's why Russell's good, isn't it? Because we can, when she phones her mum and then it's just a moaning about her dad and all this, I think we sort of relate to it straight away. We're like, oh yeah, we've all done that, and we phoned him and we're just on the other end of the line going, oh yeah. So again, Russell, relatable characters straight away.
Absolutely. Yeah. We see obviously her dad and his new blonde little plaything.
That's right.
Yeah. And that's all it revolves around. I think it revolves around a party that all the family are going to. Is that right?
Yeah, it seems to be. Yeah. Because they're saying, she's going to be there. He's bringing her, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Someone's birthday, I think. Someone's party, whatever. And then we have her brother as well, played by, what's his face from BBC stuff.
That's right. And what is his name? Because I always thought he'd be in it. Yeah, Reggie Yates. I always thought he'd be in it more, but yeah.
Plays a little part there. And then her sister, who plays obviously the biggest part out of the family. And
Tish.
Tish, yeah. Who kind of nearly gets London destroyed later on with the Lazarus experiment.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But in this episode, it's very early on, so all she's doing really is just providing a bit of external sort of perspective on what's going on. So Martha and the doctor are inside the hospital. They obviously dealing with all that, but she's on the outside, isn't she? She's the one that first notices it's raining just over the hospital, and then the rain's going up the wrong way and that stuff. So it's almost like she's reporting, as like a news reporter on the outside.
Yeah.
For Martha, which I thought was a great idea, by the way. The whole concept anyway of just taking the hospital to the moon, but just the rain just over
going
that
up.
bit. Yep. And I think her sister describes it as in cartoons where you see a little rain cloud over one character.
Yeah.
That was very cool. But her sister, Tish, she wasn't too bad.
No, I mean, the Jones family are a bit cringy, I think. Like like you said, the dad's got his young blonde plaything and all that. And I don't know, there's all that going on. Whereas I always think sort of the best ones, because like you said, I find them, like you, I find the mum a little bit annoying for the main part. The dad, we don't get to see much. I may be completely wrong here, but I had a feeling the actor died, didn't he? I have a feeling the reason we don't get to see much of the dad is because the actor passed away. I could be completely wrong. I'm not sure where I've got that. But so we don't get to see much of him. But the ones that have always stood out to me are Tish, and although he's not used much, Reggie Yates.
Right.
What's it? Leo, isn't it? Leo.
Yep.
So yeah, those two work better for me in terms of their acting, whereas I find the mum and the dad and we probably shouldn't keep calling her the plaything, but whoever the blonde woman is that he's dating in this episode, she was very over the top, I thought, in terms of the acting. So yeah, but yeah, Tish and Leo, the brother and sister, stand out better for me than the sort of mum and dad in terms of the acting, if you know what I mean. I mean, like you said, they're only in that beginning bit.
Yeah.
It's a little bit cringy to watch, just a little bit, but it does do the job of just introducing everybody. So in that sense, it works pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did you think to the very, what's the word? Not smarmy, but quite sort of up himself doctor that's showing Martha and the other trainees
Mr.
around.
Mr.
Stoker, yeah.
Stoker.
He's very much, I didn't really want him at first because he's very, when he's taking them around to different patients and he's getting them to diagnose what's the problem. And he doesn't cut them any slack at all. It's like, they a couple of them
he's a bit smug, isn't he? Because he's like asking them stuff that they
ask a few questions, they obviously get it wrong, and with this kind of smug grin on his face, he's like, well, actually, if you'd have asked this question, you would have got this right, and it's actually this, and but I do feel a bit sorry for him at the end, because towards the end, because he's one of the victims of
old Granny Finnegan.
Old Finnegan, yeah, because they burst into his office, don't they? And he has no clue what's going on, and then that's it. The next time we see him, he's like grey, pale skin, got no blood left in him, and you think, oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, it's actually quite. It's actually quite horrific, that scene.
A little bit,
considering it's, if you look at it on paper, you've got a granny coming towards you with a straw to suck the blood out of you. You think, okay, how's that going to work? That could so easily have been laughed off the screen if it hadn't have been filmed right. But I think because he gives such a horrifying scream, which, by the way, goes on, if you go back and watch that scene, lasts right over into the next scene. They're still playing in the scream. It really does work as quite a nasty and I mean this in a good way. Quite a sort of horror edge to that scene, which works really well because, like you said, he's a bit of a smug guy, but you wouldn't wish that on him. And, you do feel like, Mr. Stoker's just got it in the neck, quite literally. So, yeah, I thought he was quite good. He was quite good. The part he played. Yeah, I recognise the actor as well. I'm sure I've seen him in other things. But, no, I thought he was quite good, Mr. Stoker.
Yeah, Roy Marsden, yeah. And it made it more creepy by the way that she says it as well. She's like, I've got my little straw.
Yeah.
And you think, oh, no, this is creepy.
She's got a look in her eye as well that's really quite scary, that woman. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about her then. So this is, Anne Reid.
Anne Reid, yeah.
Old Finnegan.
Granny Finnegan.
Granny Finnegan, yeah. And she was great. She's been in Who before from a long time ago. Is that right?
Because I thought, she does look familiar. I'm sure I've seen her in something. I don't know if it's Who, but yeah, I've definitely seen her before.
I'm pretty sure she was in Who.
Was she, or was it? Yeah, she may have been, or Torchwood or something maybe. I'm not sure. She was
in The Curse of Fenric.
Is she? Oh, Curse of Fenric.
Yeah.
Oh, who is she in that? That surprised me.
Yeah, she played...
Curse of Fenric.
Let's have a look. She played...
I just saw this. No, go on, sorry.
One of the nurses. Yes, one of the nurses.
Oh, what I was about to say is I think that's another one we haven't done. We talk about Fenric loads, but I don't think we've ever reviewed it. I'm going to be looking forward to that. I thought she gave a great performance, actually. Again, she doesn't go over the top. She's not like the pantomime killer granny. Do you know what I mean? She's not that at all. She's actually really sinister and really quite frightening with that blooming straw. So I thought she was excellent, actually.
She was.
Really, really good. Yeah, she's got the look. I love the fact that when we first meet her, you would just totally cast her off as a minor one-line character, wouldn't you? When she's in the hospital bed, and she's sort of just being annoying, and they're like, whatever, we'll come back to you. And I don't think, well, I certainly didn't when I first watched this. I never thought for any minute that we were going to come back to her and she was going to be like the central villain. I think perhaps the second time she appears, you do get an inkling of, okay, something not right here. But I love the way she's introduced as just this annoying old biddy, I thought that was a really nice little twist. Yeah.
Yeah. And you didn't see it. Well, when I first watched it, I didn't see that coming.
No, I didn't. No.
I thought she was just a character there to provide a bit of
light,
a bit of additional stuff for Martha and the other trainees to get shown up with, really.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
and then she pops up, and then she's got that very calm, collected. This is her master plan sort of thing, but she wants to control the Judoon ships. That's the point of it, isn't she? Isn't it? Yeah. So she knew that the no, that's not her original plan. But when the Judoon turn up and take the hospital, she's like, right, I can use this to my advantage. So she sort of fiddles with the X-ray or the CT machine thing, doesn't she? Because she wants to control the Judoon ships. Because she reveals the plan to the Doctor when he's playing very stupid human mode, isn't it?
That's a good scene, actually. Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's she's very good in this. Great little character.
No, she really is. Yeah, she really does do it justice. I think that part really did like her.
Well, let's talk about the Judoon then. So this is the first time that we see this new Doctor Who monster, isn't it? And thankfully, it's one of those monsters that have not been overused.
Yeah,
because every series of Doctor Who, we can expect a Dalek story. We can expect a Cyberman story, probably something to do with the Weeping Angels, and probably something to do with... That's about it.
But there is probably more.
Yeah, there's probably more, but we can expect those to pop up in newer Doctor Who, can't we? Whereas these guys, they've only been in... What have they been in? I think it's... They do.
Funny enough, I was trying to think this the other day, because they do sort of make little guest appearances now and again, don't they? But this is we haven't had anything where they've been in it, as much, I don't think. Because they pop up at the end of time, Stolen Earth and all that, but it's more like cameos, isn't it? They're not. This is their what you might call their main story, I suppose.
Yeah, I was going to say there was this is like their story, if you like, but they have popped up as So they were at the very end. You know, when the Doctor introduces Captain Jack to the lad that was on the Titanic too. There's one in the bar knocking about with all the other.
That's it. They sort of do pop up now and again. Yeah.
The Pandorica, you know, when the Doctor's going through all the different monsters that, you know, and stuff like that. So they've made appearances. I think, if memory serves, there was a Sarah Jane adventure about the Judoon.
Oh, yes, I think there might be actually. Yeah.
If memory serves, so they have popped up across, you know, the various series and so on, but they haven't had a dedicated story. And they did pop up in the Big Finish box set, the classic Doctor's New Monsters with no, which one was the Judoon? Was that McCoy?
It was the 8th, I think, wasn't it?
Oh no, yeah, it was. No, hold on, the 8th was the Centauran.
You did a bit of a Tennant there. Yes, no. Yeah. I'll tell you what. You're right. They were in Sarah Jane. That really makes me want to go and watch that episode actually of Sarah Jane with these in. I'll be honest with you. I don't know if I've ever seen it.
I haven't seen any Sarah Jane. So
right. There's some really good stuff in the Sarah Jane series, but yeah, I don't think I've watched the Judoon one. I'll have to go and have a look at that.
Yeah, I remember reading about it though, like researching for this. I remember reading that there was a Sarah Jane adventure, but with the Judoon. So it might be good to go and watch that.
I have to say they look brilliant, don't they?
They do.
The design of the Judoon looks great, and it's really realised well on screen. Like when they're talking, we get a good old zoom round the face, get a good old close up of the. I assume it's mask. I don't know if is it mask and CG or is it just mask? I don't know. But it looks great.
It's a proper.
It really does look good.
Mask, yeah.
Yeah. I thought it must be, but I didn't know if it was enhanced at all. But no, they've done a really good job in bringing them to life, and they are scary and comical at the same time. Like, you know, sometimes the Sontarans that works and sometimes it doesn't, particularly in the new series. With this, they got the balance really right, actually, because there's no messing with the Judoon, is there? They are clumsy old beasts that will quite happily pin you against the wall and whatever. So there's no messing with them. But they are also a little bit is it unkind to say a bit thick? They're not really thick, but they're not the brightest, they're not the sharpest tool in the box, are they?
No,
I mean, the Doctor says that himself. They're not, you know, they've got their mission, they do their job, and that's basically it, you know.
Yeah, I would say that because they are labelled as an intergalactic police force.
Yeah,
but I don't think they're like the detectives. They're more like just the grunts, just getting the job done. So, and they're part of the Shadow Proclamation, aren't they?
Oh yes.
So if we think through to what Tennant episode was it? I think it was The End of Time, Part 1. Maybe. Or no, Stolen Earth, maybe. What was the one with the Medusa Cascade and all the planets disappeared?
Oh, that is the Stolen Earth, isn't it?
Stolen Earth, that's right, yeah. So the Doctor does go to the Shadow Proclamation, the Judoon are there. And I think they are part of that. So, because the Shadow Proclamation, aren't they the guys that have all they uphold the laws about time and all that stuff? So I think the Judoon gets sent off to apprehend people who do the bad things, you know, with messing with time and space and stuff.
That's it.
So they're a good creation. They are a good.
They are, yeah.
A good character, and it's interesting that they got the rhino head. You know, who would think to put, you know, an Earth-based mammal, you know, as the head of an upright walking, you know, monster. It's quite fun, but quite scary at the same time, like you say.
It is good, yeah, especially because they've got the helmet on as well. So I think you could easily assume that is it, and then they take it off, and you've got this other thing, you know, underneath. So yeah, they are a brilliant design, creation, everything really. I do love a Judoon. There's something about the way that Tennant delivers the line as well. And again, it just makes me appreciate his Doctor so much more now than I did at the time. Just these little mannerisms that he has, and Judoon and all that sort of stuff. It's just
it's great. And Series 3 is very good. He is great. Tennant is he's great in Series 3.
Yeah. I'm definitely I mean, I've always liked Tennant as the Doctor. We'll get on to him at the end, but I've always liked Tennant as the Doctor. But I would never put him up there as my favourite. I know he's your favourite, isn't he, of the new Doctors?
Of the new Doctors, yeah.
Yeah. I'd never put him up there as a favourite, but the more we watch him for the podcast, the more I just absolutely love him as the Doctor.
He's great.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about him and Martha then, because I wanted to spend some time about these two, because essentially the episode is about these two.
Yeah.
And their slow sort of meeting towards the end. So it all sort of culminates in that end scene where Martha, gets proven that, he can travel in time and all that stuff. And then we have that wow moment that most companions have when they step inside the TARDIS and then they go back out again and all that stuff. And then, so that's how it culminates, isn't it? But then in between that, they're sort of living, they're very separate beings, if you like, throughout the episode. And then slowly towards the end, as they work together, to solve the case, if you like, they sort of become close. And then they have that. It's really good to see the Doctor with a companion that's got that very definitive line, because up to that point it was all Rose, and even when Martha's inside the TARDIS, he's like, "You don't think you're replacing her?" and all that. So we still have that element of the romantic side of things with the Doctor and Rose that got a bit sort of heavy towards the end of series 2. So it's nice just to have that, a bit of a fresh air moment where the Doctor's got a new companion, but there's no romantic side to it. It's just the Doctor with someone else, off travelling, new adventures. It's good. It's a good feeling to have that and not be bogged down with the whole emotional side of things that we had with Rose.
Yeah, definitely. I think we definitely needed that after after all the tears of series 2 at the end. And I'll tell you what I love is I love the way the Doctor selects Martha in a sense. It's quite interesting because he's travelling on his own, isn't he? And he's almost like his own. He's doing his own investigations, like he's checked himself into hospital because he's, detected that something's going on there and all that. So he's traveling on his own, which I like. And then when I say he selects Martha, he works out that she's asking like the right questions is how I'd put it. Because there's another assistant there that's kind of falling apart. And I think he says something like, "Leave her, she'll only slow us down." So he's already decided that, this girl's got her head screwed on. She's, she's not fazed by what's going on. She's asking the right questions. This is the kind of, assistant I want by my side. Maybe not assistant, but this is the person I want with me in this situation. So I like that because it gives us another insight into why the Doctor picks who he travels with. He'd already decided that the other girl would just be a hindrance, and that Martha would probably be, somebody he needed with him. So I like that. It gives us another little element to her character, and also the Doctor's character as well.
Yeah, and it's those little mini interactions that build up and up and up throughout the episode, which I quite like, to the point where Martha literally has to save his life, because there's that really quite emotional scene, isn't there, where so we first have it where, this for me it sort of spoke about a dark time to come for the Doctor, because the way in which he has to take out, the old Finnegan, she's got those two sort of assistants, and we don't see their faces. It's just the bike helmet.
Oh, on the bike helmet, yeah.
Stuff. So the Doctor and Martha take one of them out with the X-ray machine.
Yeah,
and it's quite. If this is the first time you're watching Tennant's Doctor, you have no idea of what's to come. But we know that in the end of at the very end of the Doctor's run, that's how he gets not killed, but that's how his Doctor comes to an end. By absorbing all the radiation. I know there's a much larger amount.
Yeah.
But in this scene, he kind of laughs it off, which is...
That's the scene with the shoe, isn't it? He's like, there's nothing to a Time Lord or something, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's what makes it a bit of a sad moment almost, because he absorbs all that radiation, doesn't he? And he does that funny dance, and he says he's putting it all into his shoe and throws it in a bin. But it just gets laughed off, because I assume at this point, Russell T Davies didn't know how he was going to... do that regeneration and get rid of David Tennant, and not get rid of, but change the Doctor into another one. So at this point, it's just it's a funny scene. But for us that know how Tennant's Doctor sort of ends its run, it's quite bittersweet in a way, because why couldn't he have been like this at the end? You know?
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that. You know, I hadn't thought of that at all. But now you say it, that's a really good point.
Yeah, because he laughs it off because he absorbs all the radiation and then does that funny thing where he puts it all into his shoe and throws it in a bin. And Martha's like gobsmacked. She's like, "You're mad, you're mad." And then he says something funny like, "Yeah, you're right. It would be walking around with one shoe." So he puts his shoe back on, and then that's it. We're back on with the story. So
is that where his Sonic gets it as well? There's a bit where the Sonic gets destroyed, which I'd forgotten about.
Later on.
Oh no, the Sonic! Yeah,
a bit later on. Yeah,
he's really upset, isn't he? As well,
he is. So Martha and the Doctor, I think, because we know obviously of Tennant's Doctor at this point. We've gone through series 2, so we know, how great he is, and it is nice. It does feel like a nice little reset for the Doctor to be travelling with somebody else. And I think Freema in this one, I think we've said a few times in the past that she's not the best actress. I think
she's good.
She's good in this. She's good in this. She is good in this, but there are quite a few episodes with her. Well, not quite a few. I would say about half of her episodes. I think to myself, she's not. Just some of the scenes, especially emotional scenes, I just feel like she can't put 100% into it. That's just my feeling on some things, but I think in this first one, she is good, and we do take a liking to Martha. I don't think there are many people that watch this one and think, "Oh, I don't like her." She is very likable.
I really like it. Yeah, I was going to say I do know where you're coming from to an extent, and I know a lot of people agree with you because there are some people out there that really don't like Martha, and there are some that, like you said, just think she's a bit meh. I've always really liked her. I think I've always really liked the interaction between her and the Doctor. And sometimes I actually feel sorry for her because, Tennant's Doctor can be, I wouldn't say harsh to her, but I'm thinking of the episode where he's human and what's it called, Human Nature and the Family Blood. He can be quite... He does put Martha through it sometimes, I think, and we've got this whole unrequited love story line going on underneath sometimes, which I know a lot of people don't like. But I generally, I really like them together. I think they're a good pairing up. The unrequited love thing, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. For me, it does work at the end because I do love her last speech to the Doctor about, my friend always says, if someone doesn't love you back, get out and all that. I always think that's a great speech from Martha.
That's cool.
So for me, I don't mind the unrequited love thing. I know we would have just liked it if it had been a clean break, which is why it's so great when we get Catherine Tate in the next series. We really do get that. She's not interested in Doctor at all, and it's almost a shame actually when we get that fantastic scene at the end of this episode with the Doctor and Martha, where he's showing around the TARDIS and he's saying, "You're not replacing her," and all that. And she turns around and says, "Good, because I'm not even remotely interested." And it would have been good if they'd cut it there, because then we get a scene of her sort of looking to the console quite upset.
Quite down,
and you think, oh no, she didn't. She does actually fancy him. Oh dear. Yeah. So I don't know. It would have been probably more interesting if she hadn't sort of been in love with him.
It would have been, yeah.
But it doesn't bother me as much as it does some people. I think she's probably, let me think. I think she's one of my favourite new... I know a lot of people don't like the phrase new Who, but you know what I'm saying. From the new series, I think she's one of my favourites. So Donna's my favourite, and then I think possibly Martha. Yeah, I don't know about the rest. I don't want to do a list. I don't want Colin Baker kicking off when he listens to the show, because we know he listens. But I do. She is up there. I do really like her and David Tennant together. I think they work really well.
Yeah, they do. And Martha's my wife's favourite companion. So whenever we want to watch any newer Doctor Who, and I say to her, "What let's stick some Who on. Who do you want to watch?" She will always go for a Tennant and Martha Jones and the Doctor from series 3.
Yeah, no,
so I've seen quite a bit. I've seen the Martha episodes quite a lot. Yeah. Right. Let's go to scores. Is there anything else you want to mention? I mean, the music was quite good. I really like the Murray Gold stuff in this. It's not too overpowering. There was a couple of bits towards the beginning with like the explosions and stuff.
Yeah.
When the hospital's being sort of ripped up and put on the moon and stuff. But otherwise, it's pretty good.
Yeah, no, overall pretty good. The only thing I was going to say is, what did you think? Did you think the effects sometimes looked a bit dated?
A little bit, yeah.
A little.
Just
I mean, they're still decent, aren't they? They still work. But there's the odd bit. I think you sort of think, oh, that's not as good as I remember. Like I think the bit with the hospital at the end and stuff. But generally, it looks. I mean, it does still look nice. It's a bit like when you watch a classic Doctor Who episode, you appreciate it for the time it was done, and it still looks good. Because I like the design of the Jadoon ships, for example. Very simple, just like a tube, really. But they do look good when they're landing on the moon. So all that sort of stuff. So no, I think we've covered it, mate. I just want to say that I think it was a nice surprise to sit down. Well, not surprise, but it was a nice episode to sit down and watch. I think it did what it needed to do at the time, which was introduce Martha and give us a bit of fun along the way. And I thought they made for a great pairing from the get-go. So I really enjoyed it. Not up there as a classic, but it's up there as one that I would happily sit and watch. Yeah. Some nice humour in it too. We touched on that a little bit. There's some really good humour in this episode, which Tennant delivers brilliantly.
Great.
I have to say, he's really, just really good. The little shop gets a mention, which I love.
The little shop, yeah.
He loves the little shop in the middle of all the mayhem, and he just spots the little shop, which I thought was great.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to nick that clip, I think.
Yeah, we need that clip, don't we? Yeah.
So I pretty much agree with you, mate. It's a good watch, very enjoyable, nice little isolated story, introduction to a new companion, got some very funny moments in it. Yeah. Good stuff. I think it's me to go first.
I think it is, yeah.
I'm going to give it an 8.
You're giving it an 8. Okay, I'm only slightly behind you. I'm giving it a 7.5, but a very strong 7.5. I did really enjoy it. I'm not giving it an 8 because just because the story is very simple. So I think it's not as strong as perhaps something that I might give an 8 to, but I did really enjoy it. And lastly, can I just say, I love Tennant in the blue suit and red Converse combo. Yeah. I love that combo. He's rocking the blue suit in this. So yeah, very good.
Very cool. What did our listeners think? Let's kick off with an audio review. This is Joe Sweeney.
Hello again, Adam. Hope you guys are well. Smith and Jones is one of the good stories out of series 3. It's the episode that gives Modern Who a fresh, bringing a new companion since after the departure of Rose. Great introduction of Martha and the Jadoon. And David was very good. Freema gave a decent performance for her first run as a new companion. The Plasmaphore was, I'm not too overly fussed about, but I do like the slabs. I thought they presented themselves very well. I like the black leather jacket and crash helmet. I thought that looked really awesome, and the story sets out perfectly. And I like the idea of how the hospital being transported to the moon, and also I thought the TARDIS interior looks so much. It looks so much better of it being brightened up, compared to the other two series where it's all dark and glowy. But don't get me wrong, it is still a good interior, but I much more prefer it more brighter. But other than that, a good episode and a good way to kick off with Series 3. So I'll give it a solid 8 out of 10.
Nice one, Joe.
Oh, Joe's on par with you there. 8 out of 10.
A good point about the TARDIS interior. With the first two series, it is dark with these turquoisey green glows everywhere. And this one, it is much lighter. There isn't that, so a bit of a change up there, which is not a bad thing. It does look
nice. I still love that.
And I think they went the other. Yeah, I think they went the other way. I think towards the end of Tennant's run, it does get darker again, but just without the turquoisey hues and glows.
Yeah.
It's still cool. Over on Twitter, a good friend Loopy Lou says, I absolutely love this story. Well paced and great fun. The Jadoon are fantastic in their sexy leather skirts and rock boots. Really strong introduction to Martha. 9 out of 10.
Excellent. Cheers, Lou.
On Facebook, Kevin Mullen says, if there is one thing RTD does well, it's introduce characters. Within a few, this is what I was talking about earlier. Kevin reminded me of this thing. He said, within a few short seconds, we know everything we need to know about Martha. The story, however, is paper thin, relying on set pieces that, while look good, are just eye candy. Judoon look impressive for sure, but I really just played for laughs, and a lot of great actors. Roy Marsden is utterly wasted. One thing I did enjoy was Anne Reid's performance that dripped with nastiness despite her looking like a harmless grandmother. Not the best, not the worst. 7 out of 10.
Okay. Yeah.
Charlie Turner says, let's get started with my thoughts on Smith & Jones. Opening episode is one of my favourite series openers. I would admit, as far as I can remember, on my first viewing of this, I was a little unwell. And the villain is highly creative proof of that. I even remember to bring a straw. That line right there makes the villain so good, yet so chilling. Love the Judoon, especially the way they talk. But my favourite moment has to be the Doctor and his shoe, trying to get rid of the itches in his feet. Goes on to say, it's a funny watch, still to this day, 8 out of 10.
Yep, another 8 out of 10.
Another 8, yep. Let's do another audio review. This is a first for one of our long-time friends, Adam the Ultimate Whovian.
Ah.
Hello, Gary and Adam from the Big Good Box podcast. Adam the Ultimate Whovian here. And Smith & Jones, well, I personally think this is a very good story. It puts Martha in the foreground. You get him to know about her home life and everything, and you're getting into what Martha's lifestyle really is like. It's not as good. And then the Doctor comes in, very mysterious, you're not quite sure. And I think that's a perfect way to introduce a series, I think, after all that stuff with Rose. This episode isn't important to me, maybe because of that. Well, probably it is a little bit. But this was the very episode that I became a Doctor Who fan. I became a Doctor Who fan because of this episode. I had memories of Series 1 and 2, but until I watched this episode, I was hooked for the rest of it. I was hooked on Doctor Who. And it would have nearly been 10 years since this episode aired, and it makes me feel old. But I've kept loving the show and listening in to your podcast stuff, and thank you for entertaining, and thank you 10 years on from when this episode broadcast. It's absolutely mad. Take care, guys.
Thank you very much, Adam.
Cheers, Ad. Well, I never knew that was the one that got him into it. That's amazing.
Isn't that great, when you hear from people that say, this is the one that got me into it. Yeah, it's cool. Back on Facebook, Jeff Waddle says, yo, fo, do, no, po, lo, so, to, ho, ho, ho. He says, that's Judoonian for 5 out of 10. It's okay, but have a wonderful Christmas.
Cheers, Jeff. You too.
George Coppen says, not the greatest start to a series, but at the same time, not the worst. But it's still one of my favourite seasons. Love Series 3 and Martha. This is a great introduction to both. 6 out of 10.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
Stan Stacey. I always say that. Stan Stacey Gallagher says, loved Martha and the Doctor in this. I'll give the story 6 out of 10. Mark Mooney, fun series opener, nothing too taxing, 7 out of 10. Mark Atkinson, one of the stronger season openers of the RTD era. Whole thing had a confidence to it. I love the Doctor's blue suit, 8 out of 10.
Cheers, Mark. Yeah, I love that suit.
Matt Webb, hi Adam and Gary. Tennant and Freeman are nothing short of brilliant in this story. The episode itself serves as a great debut for Martha and the Judoon. The only problem I have with it is the vampiric old lady isn't much of a compelling antagonist. Overall, though, a solid 8 out of 10.
Yeah, another 8.
Sammy Satine, she says, there's a plasmavore on the loose in a hospital and the Judoon are trying to arrest it. They can't arrest it on Earth, so they transport the entire thing to the moon. The Doctor, having noticed the plasma coils around the hospital, has decided to check it out and find out what's going on. She says, I love the Judoon. They look amazing. They have their own language and a strict adherence to the rules. She also loves the design. The Rhinoceros Space Police, they're brilliant. She goes on to say, the actor who plays Mr. Stoker does a great job. I feel sad that he will never see his daughter again. Yeah. Freema does a great job in this. She likes Martha. She had a job, a family, ultimately gave up travelling to go with the Doctor. David is, of course, brilliant as per usual. I love how this story moves along, and I like how not only is the Doctor thinking of reasons why this is happening, but also Martha is thinking that too. She goes on to say, difficult to portray that they are running out of air towards the end, but I think it did a reasonably good job of that. Very brave of Martha to sacrifice her last bit of air to save the Doctor. She gives it a 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. Wow, cheers, Sammy.
Yeah. She says, apologies for the long comment. Then again, if Gary manages to read it out word for word, I will be mightily impressed. Sorry, Sammy, I didn't read everything because we're going to run out of time otherwise. Lewis Palmer says, oh, the memories. Yes, it's another early nostalgic childhood story for me. I just love it. Everything about it just screams Doctor Who. The Judoon are great and have been used well since the story aired, popping up in the Sarah Jane Adventures and making cameos here and there. The Plasmavore is unique and unintentionally hilarious with the straw quote. It's also a really unique concept, with the whole hospital being transported to the moon. Martha is introduced very well, and the final scene that just has awe and magic that no other show can give. Definitely a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, wow, another high score.
Let's do our last audio review. This is Jay Kent.
Hey Gary and Adam, I hope you're all good. Now, Smith and Jones, certainly one of my favourite series openers. I don't know what it was about this, whether it was nostalgia or whatever, but there was some kind of fuzzy feeling when watching this. Just seeing high-angled shots of extras running about and panicking filled me with a sense of, yes, this is Doctor Who. It had a really nice feel to it, what was running about corridors, and it was all filled with excitement and fun, which is a word that I'd never thought would work with a story about people suffocating on the moon. The Judoon were, and always have been, a fun alien, but one I think has been ruined due to pointless cameos in the Moffat era, just like the Ood and whatnot, but the direction was certainly unique in this episode, with jarring close-ups and everything. And while what usually might be off-putting, I can't help but to love everything about it. The whole thing just felt so human. The arguments with Martha's family and the reactions to everything, it was believable and humble, and it's something I wish the show would go back to. Overall, this episode always sits with me well, and I adore it. An 8 out of 10 for me. Hope you have a go show, bro, and I'll see you next time for show. Just like Judoon speaking it.
Cheers, Jay.
Nice, Jay. Another 8 out of 10 there. And a bit of Judoonian speaking there as well.
Yeah,
very good.
Judoon.
Last couple on Facebook, Miles McKenzie. Smith and Jones, what a great episode. Love how the Judoon were created because of David not being able to say oon without going back to his English accent.
Oh, didn't know that.
The story was very well paced and a great way to introduce the companion. The Doctor proving he can travel in time was very clever, and a shame we don't see these tiny, wee, timey-wimey things these days. The villain was an interesting concept, and how she drinks blood to cover her true identity. 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10, yeah.
And lastly, Joseph Howarth says, it's a pretty good opening episode to Series 3. Martha establishes herself very well in her first appearance. I think she's quite underrated as a companion, and I don't understand the fuss that's been made about her, and I support her 100%. There's a good amount of comedy in this one, especially the Doctor trying to get rid of the radiation. The Judoon are very good. I think they are quite unique in how they speak and look, and I think they are overdue another appearance. Maybe they've been neglected since Stolen Earth, and I'd really like to see them in the when Chibnall becomes head writer. The actress who played the shape-shifting Plasmavore did a great job. The Judoon sounds more like a parrot squawking than agonising death scry. The only negative I have for this story is the subplot involving Martha's parents. Goes on to say, the truth in the subplot with Francine, along with her husband, was ultimately pointless. It wasn't needed. It doesn't advance the story, and I just don't care about Martha's family. They're not interested in the slightest, and they're only there to introduce Martha as a new companion. But anyway, it's a great episode to kick off Series 3. Tennant is on top form. What more can one ask? 8 out of 10.
Yeah, okay.
Anything on the Geeks Handbag page from you?
Oh, yes, I did. I had one from Patrick Sherwood, who says, this story, well, I love it. I think it's great. It's not the best 10th Doctor story now, is it? But for what it is, I love it. So altogether, he's going to give it a 9 out of 10. Yeah, so Patrick, another fan. I have to say, we've had quite a lot of positive comments for this story, and it is one that I rarely hear people talking about. So whether it's a little forgotten gem, or because I never, I mean, as I said, myself, I never watched this, since it was first on TV. So I don't know why I didn't go back to it, but it is a story that I very rarely hear Doctor Who fans talking about, and yet pretty much all the comments, bar maybe one or two, were pretty positive, weren't they? So I'm really pleased about that. Yeah, so maybe if you haven't watched this one for a while, maybe go back and give it a watch. And just lastly, before we go end this one, we were just talking a lot about Martha's family. Yeah. One thing I forgot to say is that I really like that Martha's cousin gets a mention, because Freema Agyeman Is that how you say her name?
Agerman, I think. Yep.
Agerman. She did pop up in the story previously, didn't she? I can't remember the story title. The one with the Cybermen, the Daleks, and Canary Wharf. She was in that. And I think when she was cast as a companion, people were like, oh, but she's already been in it. And they do make a cross-reference to that being Martha's cousin to sort of get around the fact that she'd already been in the show.
Yeah.
Which I thought was a really nice little touch. She didn't really need to be there, but it was a nice little sort of inclusion just to sort of get that out of the way to say, oh, that was her cousin. That's why, So, yeah.
Clever.
More greatness from RTD.
Yeah. Right. Next week. Yeah, which will be our kind of Christmas episode, if you like, and our last one of the year.
Yeah.
We are going to do a Christmas special. And one of your favourites, one of Adam's all-time faves. What are we going to do next week, dude?
Well, we're going to do... Hang on. There must be a typo here, Gary. This can't be right.
It is.
It says we're doing the Doctor, the Widow, the Wardrobe.
We are indeed.
We're not, surely.
We are.
Oh, we are. Oh.
Come on, let's get the festive Who.
The Doctor, the Widow, the Wardrobe.
Yeah.
Right, okay. I must admit, this is another one I have only ever watched once. And that was enough, but it will be good to go back and see why.
Good's not the word that I would use at the moment.
Honestly, I watched it on Christmas Day, and I have never watched it since. So
yeah. But our views might change, though.
It might, yeah.
So next week...
It won't, but no, it might.
So the Doctor, the Widow and the Wardrobe is up for review next week. And I think we're going to end there on 121.
Yay!
Thank you so much for sticking with us and listening through episode 121. It's been fun, as always.
It's been show.
For sure. A couple of good news bits. Whether you want to get involved in a discussion around Capaldi leaving or not, I've seen so much of it, as always.
I know.
On Twitter and so on. But we will wait and see what the great man decides to do.
Yeah.
If you want to check out the trailer for the Xmas special, let's go do a search for that on YouTube, Twitter, whatever. It's plastered everywhere. Go and get your 20 seconds worth of Crimbo special before it goes out. Next week. It's Christmas next week.
I can't believe it.
Can't believe it.
Literally can't believe it.
Yeah. Check out the fan mag as well, which is free download. Head over to hootopia.ca. You can download issue 30, which got an interview with Mr. Davison. And also, if you're into your merch, your Topps cards, look for a link in our show notes or just do a search for the 10th Doctor Topps Wide Vision cards. They look good.
They do.
And let us know if you've picked up or are going to pick up this TARDIS desk tidy to stick your pens in and other desk paraphernalia. Tell us what the quality's like. Head over to our website, www.bigblueboxpodcast.co.uk or .com. I'm always undecided which one I'm going to say. Let's go with .co.uk today. You can listen to all the previous episodes, and you can also link off to Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and all that good stuff. And you can also link off to iTunes. And if you are an iTunes subscriber, if you could give us a link. If you're an iTunes subscriber, if you could give us a review and a rating, that would be awesome. That really helps. Remember to check out Adam's channel, The Geek's Handbag.
Yeah.
Do a search for The Geek's Handbag on YouTube and Facebook.
Yeah.
Give him a subscribe and a like and a follow and all that jazz.
Yeah.
Do it now. Seriously though, loads of good videos from Adam. Lots and lots of good stuff over there. Next week, the Doctor, the Widow and the Wardrobe. So look out for the Facebook and Twitter stuff to give us your thoughts on that one.
May need a glass of mulled wine to get through that review.
Indeedy. Until next week, my name's Gary.
My name's Adam.
And remember...